Okay, ooh, it's been a while. Freelance teacher family, good to chat with everybody. It's been a while since I did a video. You can stop DMing me and blowing up my cell phone with wondering what's going on. Everything is fine. Everything's going okay. I'll give you a school update from room 227. We have now almost finished. We are 3/4 of the way through year 1 post bug 19. So that's a pretty big thing. We had New York had a mask mandate in place for a while. Because I work in the bad neighborhood school, there was general following along of that for a while, although I'd say at any given day, even at the height of the mandate days, easily a fourth of the population didn't necessarily follow protocol. And then when you'd look at, mask below the nose or around the chin or whatever, it really was kind of a farce, the whole thing. And as I say a lot, the Karens never really said much, and we don't have too many of them, but they're not really going to say that much because, it would instantly brand them racist for telling our black students what to do. So it's a really weird sociological experiment, kind of like a gigantic petri dish where I work. So, but that's all over now. The state mandate was lifted months ago, and there's still a few people who put on a mask. I'm not sure why, but they do that, and so that's all over and done. There's still signage up on social distancing. It's completely ignored, and nobody asks anyone about bug 19 juice. Or the other thing is the testing, right? We all tested after Christmas break, and so to see what our numbers were like, apparently they were pretty small. And then they had another round of tests this past spring break. And I have no idea what the percentage of people who even did the test is. I saw some students toss their test in the garbage. Like, I'm not doing this. And so I don't know what that's all. I mean, a COVID test, right? A PCR test with the saliva. I have no idea what the numbers are on that. So, or like how many people even did it. So it was kind of like, oh, this again? And the attitude was it was somewhat antagonistic. So that the stupid 19, bug 19 thing is fading. The powers that be, of course, keep kind of pushing it here and there, right? But we saw the airline mask mandate dropped a couple of days ago. The usual suspects are shrieking about that, but I don't think, my brother and I were having a conversation, would they bring that back? And I don't think the mask mandate and those kinds of things are, at least in the near future, on the way back. They're always going to try to control people's behavior. That's automatic. But the problem is you have states like Texas and Florida and South Dakota and most of Virginia, except Richmond and Northern Virginia, but the general people in Virginia, West Virginia, I mean, you've got a ton, Idaho, Montana. You've got a huge swath of states that if the federal government said, we got to do masks again and COVID and all kinds of stuff, bug 19 and howling, you'd have a whole lot of states, particularly Florida, which is a huge state in terms of population, Texas, that instantly would be like, we're not doing that. And if you understand the nature of busybodies and power and bureaucrats and whatnot, they really can't have a gigantic section of their constituency just basically flip them off. Like, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. Because then it shows that they're impotent. It shows that they're powerless. And I think in the calculus, because you have to understand that this has never been about public health. Since when does the government, in the thrall of large corporations, since when do they look out for your health? Right? I've mentioned this before, and It's really how it is. Think about it. You have Raytheon and Bristol Myers Squibb and the huge Cargill and ag companies and big pharma, big medical, all kinds of stuff. You know, basically telling government what to do. They're not concerned about making sure that you're okay and that you're healthy. They're concerned about power, control, and money. So stop it with this very naive, oh, they want to make sure we're okay. They want the death toll to be low. Yeah, that's why they bomb people in the Middle East 6 ways to Sunday, so they can make sure that people stay alive. I mean, come on, right? Get over yourself. So anyway, that mini rant is about that kind of thing. But so that's why I don't think it's necessarily coming back. On a very tragic note, the lack of consequences in my building has unfortunately borne some violent results, where we had a young lady, I think she was 15 or 16, 10th grader, I believe. She was stabbed to death in town. Our team won, our basketball team won the state title. And then there was a pep rally and the whole train of cars and whatnot downtown. And then that afternoon there was a fight, all girls. It's all on video. It's very disturbing. And young lady brought a knife and went after the one she was going after. And then the friend stepped in, and the one girl got, the object of the other girl's anger, got stabbed. And then the friend, great student, killed. She's dead. And it's terrible. It's not supposed to happen that way. And it's totally unacceptable. And the unfortunate thing is, and I'll leave you with this because I want to keep this under 10 minutes, is that the public school establishment, the current way they do public school these days, where everything is based on feelings and no one is allowed to be offended and no one can really fail, and we fight, but there are no consequences necessarily, right? And you know why? Because if a school has high number of suspension rates, it draws the attention of the state, and then the money stops coming in, right? There are issues with that. You have a school with a very high suspension rate. New York State, through its dollars and attention, comes after you. So, I mean, we've had this 2 years ago. 3 years ago, we had someone in the building who was really putting down some good discipline, and there were consequences, and the students hated it, which meant it was working. And halfway through the year, they said, you can't suspend anyone anymore. We've reached the number. Basically, right? It didn't quite go quite like that, but pretty close. So we've had that same thing going on, and so students just, in our building, we've told the power elite in our building, hey, something's going to happen. It's getting a little crazy. It's getting a little nutty. It's loud. And someone's going to get hurt. And unfortunately, that ethos carried over into town, which is worse. Like in town, right? People outside, it was a warm day and it was terrible. And now is a teenage girl dead. And the response of the public school establishment in my area, now I suspect in other areas too, but I'll speak from my own New York City area, Southern Westchester area, is completely unprepared to fix what's broken. People, they're having, teenagers having hard boundaries. If you do this, this happens. There is a way we do things. The culture of the building, the culture of the neighborhood, the culture of the community is one of strength and discipline and honor and all those old things that they laugh at now. That's what's needed. And you're out of your mind if you think that the woke, social justice, social emotional learning, they're calling it now. We have the social emotional component of school. Right? What are we not going to do? Right? We do everything. Feeding students and handling. We're supposed to handle their entire intellectual development, which is fine. I'll take on more work. I'll do more work. My classes are too small. I'll do more. My colleagues will do more. But when students go off the rails and do something wrong or something morally repellent or reprehensible, either in action or word, very little to nothing happens. And if that continues and that's the way it goes, then it breeds a culture of violence and anything goes. And that's what happened. I'm simplifying it, of course, but that's what went down. And that's the conclusion that I'm bringing you today, is that I'm not sure where you go to school or what if you're in public school community is like, but the way it is in my area, the answers, the toolkit that they're going to reach into is the wrong one. They don't have the right toolkit. The toolkit left. The toolkit was vandalized in the late 1980s, early 90s, and has never been replaced. All right, so that's it for now. 10 minutes, all right, 11. I'm pretty close. I'll talk to you next time. Checking in from room 227.